on VAT or the fair tax proposals, and which plans do you support and why?
Sorry about that. I'm in favor of a shorter candidate. Anybody above 5'10", I'm not really in favor. You know, the term was mentioned, socialism, and I think it's important to note, if you go back in our history, in world history, Margaret Thatcher, I think, said it really, really well. The problem with socialism is eventually you run out of other people's money. So our country is going towards that unless we do something. When you start to look at the cap and trade, I'm not in favor of a program that the government gets to pick winners and losers. We need to allow private entities, entrepreneurs, that's how this country was set. And let us go out, being the entrepreneurs, and go out and work. Don't let the government come down and run our banks and run our auto industries, because eventually you become so dependent on that, the mental state of the country changes. And having lived overseas, I was exposed to that. And it does. When I talked to my neighbors about going hunting, they thought I'd had 3 heads, because they don't have the right to own a gun. You know, when they went in for their universal health care, I mean, I had to carry my poor daughter in, 7 years old, and I turned around and left. The conditions of their hospitals was in such decay. I drove an hour and a half. She wasn't that sick, but sick enough that I had to take her to the hospital. And so when you start to get engulfed into that type of system, you start to lose focus on the entrepreneurial spirit of getting up and going and earning what you have. I come from very, very humble means. So single mom raising 3 kids as a waitress, we didn't have the education and background, so it was get up and work for what you have. And that's why I was enlisted to the officer side. What was the other question?
Your position on the fair tax.
I've said this many, many times. I believe the fair tax needs to be marinated at the state level. I don't think you can go up, and I'm not in favor of the fair tax at the national level until we can change or eliminate or modify the 16th Amendment. And we need to work on that, because you can't be double taxing. So when you look at it at the state level, I've sat with the guys that are at the state level. I've read the HR 25. There's some great unintended consequences that come from that. We haven't even talked about if there's, the amnesty with our illegals. However, if there is a fair tax in place, and it is marinated at the state level, the unintended consequences is that those people have to pay the tax because they're going to purchase something. So I'm very much in favor of that. I've talked to Glenn McConnell, Senator McConnell. I spoke to him last night. I had dinner about a month ago, and he's proposed that bill up and is working on it with Chip Limehouse. And I believe that is the way to go. Marinate it at the state level, and then we can say, okay, South Carolina, which has been a leader in the past, we're now leading it again.